Why mushrooms? Essentially, what I'm setting out to do is develop a more local, sustainable approach to more commercial scale farming.
I see the lights of the city, I see them rising up. They're moving in the dark, a fire without a spark. And the morning's moving fast, the morning's moving fast. Night is coming on.
Up until about roughly 1970, the vineyard was food positive in that we produced more food than we consumed. We were actually net exporters of food. And over the past 40 years, that trend's reversed, and now we actually only produce 2% of the total food consumed here. And there's just a huge discrepancy because it's not like that land's changed. It's still arable and extremely productive land. It's just that wealthy landowners have kind of bought it up and are sitting on it and have marginalized the farmers that owned it at one point. And we're fortunate enough to live in an era where there's become more and more focus on locally produced food. And so now the wealthy are actually turning the corner and they want to be a part of this system again. And so my kind of vision is connecting the extreme affluent people here who own the majority of the land and people my age and my generation that want to return and start producing local foods. And I mean, this is a pattern that's kind of taken place all over the Northeast, where you have extremely wealthy people buying up large tracts of arable land and kind of creating estates out of it. And so I think this is a very viable model that could be extrapolated out to other communities, into other areas of the Northeast, if not the whole East Coast. And I think it's extremely important because as we have more of a global sensitivity and global awareness to how the whole agro-business affects kind of climate change and global warmings and emissions, it's going to be essential that we produce stuff within a couple hundred miles of where we live. Why are we buying oranges from Chile when there's oranges in Florida? It makes no sense. I mean, all you're doing is increasing. The only reason why that's remotely possible is because fossil fuels are extremely abundant and cheap. And as that starts to change, it's going to be more and more important that we switch our focus onto local consumption, because then it is going to be, from an economic standpoint, it is going to be viable. If you can take resources that are normally just being thrown away and tossed and recycle and reuse them, as in the shiitake oak logs, it just makes perfect sense. Because I mean, there's hundreds of acres a year on the vineyard that are being cleared and turned into wood chips or whatever useless material they're being converted into, when they could be switched into very productive shiitake farms such as this. And I mean, this is roughly only 3/4 of an acre of wood, and you can just see the facilities you're able to create off of that. And I mean, realistically, you should be able to get 2 pounds of shiitakes per year per log. So I mean, 2,000 logs, that's 4,000 pounds of shiitakes. I think realistically, you could probably provide 4 to 5, possibly 6 restaurants consistently throughout the year. And I mean, the going market rate here is between $15 and $20 a pound. So I mean, out of 2,000 logs and about a month's worth of labor, you're looking at 80 grand a year. And I mean, and the beauty and the simplicity in the shiitakes is they produce for 5 years. So you just accumulate logs. So every year, if you do 2,000 logs, by year 4, you have 8,000 logs in production, which is probably close to a couple $100 grand a year in shiitakes, which is providing a very easy, viable income for a lot of the local people that live here. And you're creating value out of something that would be valueless otherwise. So to inoculate, you take any sort of drill. We're using a modified angle grinder with a 7/8 spit. And you punch, it's basically a hole every 3 inches, and for every inch of diameter, you do another line of holes. And so upon drilling the hole, you then take spawn, which is what we have here. This is a wide range variety, which produces basically from mid-April onwards till November. and then you inject it into the holes, and then you wax over in order to maintain proper moisture levels.